It's not Monday, it's not Tuesday, it's not Wednesday, and it certainly isn't Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday night, and it's time for the NVL show.
We are back around the table in a week in the NFL where
Antonio Gibson, Derrick Henry, and Tyreek Hill all brought in not one, not two, but 3 touchdowns apiece. That's right, it's a hat-trick of hat-tricks with 3 thrown by Patrick. Josh Jacobs went Super Saiyan and started chucking his forehead around like Zinedine Zidane, sparking all the memes with this despicable truck. The Denver Broncos did their best impression of the Chicago Bears by taking the field with no quarterback. And finally this week we discovered that since Harambe the gorilla was killed on May 28, 2016 at the Cincinnati Zoo, the Cincinnati Bengals have not had a winning season despite going to the playoffs the previous 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the Harambe curse.
On this week's episode, we are reviewing the 2007 NFL Draft. That's right, names like Thomas, Willis, Johnson, Lynch, Revis, and the 7th Floor crew. Who are they? Let me stress, you have to stick around. You just have to stick around. Alongside that, we have Roberto Aguayo chiming in as NVL's resident kicking expert, and of course, the fancy fridge. You don't want to miss it. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the NVL show. We'll see you in 2 hot seconds after the title sequence. Go!
hey, yeah, come on right around. It's wide receiver Craig Davis. The Chicago Bears.
It's the 7th Floor crew. The final member. Who is it going to be? Nobody is talking about the 7th Floor crew and Congressman.
That's it.
Anthony Gonzalez. That's the episode. Cut it. Done.
We are going all the way back to the year the iPhone got debuted, when Rihanna's Umbrella was top of the charts.
Crank That Soldier Boy was the song of the year.
And Wild Hogs came out. There was no good movies.
There was no good movies. It was Wild Hogs. That was
awful. But yeah, we're going to sit here and we're going to watch the 2007 NFL Draft, arguably one of the greatest drafts in history, and not only because of the gentleman who got taken number 1, but also the following 31.
2007, you may remember it as the last year money meant anything. So ladies and gentlemen, let's take you back. April 28th, 2007 at Radio City Music Hall in the center of Manhattan, New York for the 2007 NFL Draft.
Right, Raiders overall number 1 pick.
You know where they're going. You know exactly where they're going. And that's not the only reason we took this video, but it is a hefty part. Hefty, the key word. Before the draft, the Cleveland Browns general manager, Phil Savage, said Jamarcus Russell, his talent is substantial. He's a rare combination of size and strength. There he is, sat.
There he is.
He's just waiting for his entree.
That is not a quarterback.
That is an enormous man.
That is a defensive end.
Roger Goodell, with the Raiders, about to make the worst choice in franchise history.
Roger Goodell looks the same 13 years ago as he does this year.
So he's like Calvin Johnson, and so it's either going to be Calvin Johnson or Jamarcus Russell off the top, and we know which way they went. Matt Millen warned the Raiders, because in a pre-draft interview with Jamarcus Russell was sat there and he kept looking at his watch. He kept literally going, huh? And Matt Millen was like, have you got somewhere to be?
Phone? Or was it
no,
his
it's his watch. And Jamarcus is like, no, it's fine. And so Jamarcus Russell got kicked out of a meeting with Matt Millen, and Matt Millen called up the Raiders and said, I don't know where you're leaning at the number 1 pick, but do not take Jamarcus Russell. And he was right. Willie off screen is telling us that Matt Millen is a Raider legend, so excuse us.
Thank you, Willie.
Thank you, Willie. Our resident Raiders expert.
Thank you,
Scratch that. Jamarcus Russell held out well into training camp to get one of the richest contracts ever awarded to a rookie quarterback. And what did he do? He played like hot trash. His final stats as a Raider were 52% pass completion, 18 to 23 touchdown ratio. He fumbled the ball 25 times and lost it 15 times. By the 2010 season, Jamarcus Russell turned up to training camp 300 pounds. He was a 300-pound NFL quarterback. This is before the days of Jared Lorenzen, when you could have a 300-pound quarterback. He played so badly in 2011, Terrell Pryor came on the scene for the Raiders, and Hugh Jackson, who's been around this table, said you cannot wear number 2. The Raiders didn't want any other new quarterbacks wearing number 2. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Jamarcus Russell, number 1. And so number 2, where are the Detroit Lions going? Of course they're going Calvin Johnson. Why wouldn't you go Calvin Johnson? And Calvin Johnson, unbelievable pick. In every redo that I've seen of this draft, he goes number 1.
And that's
obviously.
Why he's in the center of the display.
A 3-time All-Pro, a 6-time Pro Bowler, the 2010s All-Decade team, and then he retired at 30 like Barry Sanders before him. And what does he do now? That's right. In 2019, he announced a partnership with Harvard University to study the effects of marijuana on CTE. So Calvin's having a nice old retirement.
I would love to get Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders in the same room.
Yeah.
Give them a bottle of whiskey, record the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
See what they say.
Tell us what happened in Detroit. What's it really like? How sad is it? And number 3, you have Joe Thomas. Like 2 fantastic picks. at the top of the draft and one absolute shocker by the Raiders. Joe Thomas was the bright spark in a very, very, very dark time in Cleveland.
I mean, I'm sure Hugh Jackson would have still said, well, look at the roster. I mean, we didn't have that many good players. Joe Thomas was still there also, Hugh.
Yeah, Joe Thomas was the only Pro Bowler in the year they went 0-16. He went...
Stunning fact.
It is.
Doff my cap
Thank
to
you
on that hat.
The only one, the only bright spark in that dreadful, dreadful Cleveland Browns team with Terrell Pryor starting at wide receiver. That says it all, really.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to hark on too much about the old Cleveland Browns' worst team ever, but I mean, it was coached by Hugh Jackson.
Joe Thomas, 10-time Pro Bowler, and recorded 10,363 consecutive snaps in the NFL. That's a lot of snaps, especially for the Browns. I can't believe he didn't give up.
That is a shooter bubble wrap and some high-heel shoes.
Brady Quinn still sat there with his greasy hair. When's he going to get taken?
Looking like he's about to release the best emo album of 2007.
It's got to be Miami. At this point, everyone's thinking Brady Quinn is going to Miami. They need a quarterback. Next up is Washington.
Who's it going to be?
The Washington, at that time, Redskins, but now football team, are looking to join up Sean Taylor in the backfield with another strong safety coming off the board. It's LaRon Landry.
Yeah, that lasted a long time, didn't it?
LaRon Landry, unfortunately, started doing PEDs at the end of his career with the Colts to try and keep up with all the younger players, and he got absolutely ridiculously huge. But who will the Minnesota Vikings take? Adrian Peterson's on the board, and so is Brady Quinn. There's only one way to go here, ladies and gentlemen. They take Adrian Peterson, the Oklahoma running back, who had a sensational rookie season, unfortunately losing out on Heisman voting to Matt Leinart.
Look at that phone. That is a Motorola StarTAC, if I'm not mistaken.
Motorola Razr.
Oh, it was a Razr. You were
Motorola
right.
Razr. That dates
StarTAC
it.
was a long time before that. That dates me.
Brady Quinn clinging onto his spouse for dear life and clapping Adrian Peterson. You're seeing the decay in Brady Quinn's brain as he still is not taken off the board.
Brady Quinn and the spouse dressed like British Airways flight assistants. That was the best decision the Minnesota Vikings could have made at running back until they drafted Dalvin Cook.
At Oklahoma, he had 4,245 rushing yards, which is just shy of Billy Sims for the school record. Next up, it's the Miami Dolphins. And remember, Brady Quinn is sat there thinking they literally do not have a quarterback. They're interviewing Deion Sanders. Look at this grin. It has to be Brady Quinn here. It has to be. I remember this like it was yesterday. Here we go. They've got Dante Culpepper, Joey Harrington, and Cleo Lemon is their quarterbacks room. You have to take Brady Quinn. All the fans excited about taking Brady Quinn in the Marino jerseys and Zach Thomas jerseys.
Take Zach Thomas.
It's Brady Quinn time down in Miami.
They are over the moon.
They have not drafted a quarterback here since Dan Marino. The heir to the throne, Brady Quinn out of Notre Dame. It's got to be Brady Quinn. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Brady Quinn.
Looking like he doesn't care, but he really does.
He knows that he's going to get drafted by the Miami Dolphins. It's got to be Brady Quinn. You've got Joey Harrington and Cleo Lemon in your quarterback room, and it's Ted Ginn Jr., who ran a 4.2240.
Look at his face of his missus. She was expecting round one, pick one money.
They haven't even got, Ted Ginn's not even in the room. They haven't got even footage of Ted Ginn, the quick, speedy little speedster. But he has played all over the league for the Dolphins, Niners, Panthers, Cardinals, Panthers again, Saints, and Bears. That is 13 years in the league, so I'd say not a bad pick. And now the Houston Texans are on the board, and who they're going to take, a man whose jersey will haunt National Vintage League forever. Everywhere you go, you see Okoye jerseys. Amobi Okoye, the defensive tackle from Louisville, played for the Texans, and the youngest player ever to be drafted in the NFL. How old is he? Have a guess.
19.
19 it is.
Nailed it.
He played all right for the Texans. He was nominated for Rookie of the Month in September and was the youngest player ever to receive that honor. But weirdly, later in his career, when he was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, he got put on IR with an undisclosed medical illness, and he was actually diagnosed, let me get this right, with anti-NMDA receptor encephalitis and was placed in a medically induced coma to stop the seizures. So moving on from encephalitis, we go to middle of the field. The San Francisco 49ers about to take the talisman of their defense for the next 7 years. Patrick Willis. Mad in the middle like Patrick Willis. Where did he come from? Peyton Hillis. 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team All-Pro, 2010 All-Decade team. The man was a beast. By the second to third year in the league, he was the consensus best linebacker in the league. And even Ray Lewis, who had dominated the league for about 10 years before, said, yeah, my successor, Patrick Willis, San Francisco 49ers. So Patrick Willis is off the board. The Buffalo Bills are looking to take a young running back. It didn't pan out for Willis McGahee, who famously hated Buffalo. He went there and he said in an interview when he was leaving, going to Buffalo is like running into a brick wall. There's nothing to do. And then the Buffalo Bills go and take Marshawn Lynch, who instantly becomes a fan favorite after doing an interview with the NFL in an Applebee's, and they confront him with what Willis McGahee said about Buffalo, and he was like, well, you see, that's the problem. Anyone who does an interview in an Applebee's is going to win the hearts of Buffalo Bills fans.
He just loved chain restaurants. Matter of fact, he ate at Applebee's 12 times during the bye week.
Oh yeah, this spot hot.
In 2016, he retired after the Super Bowl and then was lured back by the Oakland Raiders and their prospective move to Las Vegas. And why did he come back? Because he wanted young kids in Oakland to see a homegrown football player play for the Raiders. And that is awesome. So the Panthers are on the clock, which must mean the New York Jets trade up with the Carolina Panthers to take Darrelle Revis, which is a brilliant trade by all accounts. Darrelle Revis played unbelievably for the New York Jets, although, slight caveat, everywhere he went, he held out in training camp. Do you know how many pages his rookie contract was? 47. He signed a 47-page contract to come and play for the New York Jets. That's fine. As long as you get him on the training ground, that's okay, because he plays lights out. By his second year, third year, 2009 sort of time, he was heralded as the greatest cornerback in the league. And then he blew out his ACL and then was looking for a team and also looking for a lot of money. And when that happens, who steps up to the plate? Either the Washington football team or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This time, it was our turn. So we wasted a lot of money on a one-year rental and a first-round pick and a third-round pick for a player who played well but didn't fit our system whatsoever. They got rid of Greg Schiano. In comes Lovie Smith with a Tampa 2 defense. Doesn't fit the scheme. See you later, Darrelle Revis. He goes to the Patriots, wins a ring, and the Buccaneers stay rubbish.
That was the longest sentence I've ever seen you put out.
I think we should go to the fantasy fridge.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
I'm not here anymore, so Chris, who are we starting this week?
Thank you, Hugh, and me. Chris, you're doing an excellent job. Keep it up. We're back around the William Perry Fantasy Fridge to help guide you through your menu for week 13. As usual, we'll start with leftovers. That's right, we're going to scour the waiver wire of your fridge to try and find something to put in your belly. Who have we got at quarterback? Well, we'll start with this man. Kirk Cousins, only owned in 40% of leagues. Justin Jefferson looks legit. He's kind of like that Muller corner you've got sitting on the back shelf. Might be time to eat him now. In at running back, who is it? That's right, Frank Gore, only owned in 25% of leagues, unsurprisingly, but this guy is old. He is the oldest thing in your fridge. He is so old that the mold has mold, but Gore's getting more touches. Put him in your lineup, why not? In at wide receiver, I can't believe it's not Butterfingers. That's right, it's Nelson Aguilar, who's no longer dropping passes now that he's left the Eagles. They had a pretty rubbish week previously, but it looks like Nelson could be back with Big Derek to put up some big numbers again this week. Slam him in your lineup. In at tight end, it's that man whose name keeps being called every weekend. It's a Trey Bake of Trey Burton. Only owned in 19% of leagues. He keeps getting touchdowns. Go and grab him. And what about a defense? Shall I give you a clue? That's right, in at defense, it's the Los Angeles Chargers. That's right, I didn't say San Diego. Yes! Only owned in 37% of leagues. Grab them now. And finally, to solve your kicking woes, it's not Sebastian Janikowski. It's the other Bass, not from the sea. It's Tyler Bass. Catch him if you can. And now it's time for the vegetable crisper. That's right, it's the one player that has that sell-by date. You should only really use him this week. And who is it? That's right, good gosh, we have buffalo wings in the crisper. That's right, the wideout from Buffalo, Gabriel Davis. There's no more HP sauce. John Brown is out. Put him in your lineup. And now we go inside the fridge to find out who King Fantasy Sports King of the Week is. And this week it is none other than Keenan Allen, of course. The Los Angeles Chargers wideout is a beast. Justin Herbert is chucking it on average 300 yards a game. He's the number one target. He cannot be stopped. Put him in your lineup if you have him. As always, last and least, we got a whiff of something when we open the fridge. We got a pong. We have to ask, what's that smell? And this week, that smell is offensive. That's right, it's the entire Denver offense. They started a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback last week, and in a nepotism move worthy of Donald Trump himself, they have hired Pat Shurmur as the quarterback, who also happens to be the son of the offensive coordinator. Good luck, Denver. Bench everybody. And once again, that's all from William Perry and his Fancy Fridge. If you need any more up-to-the-minute fantasy advice, please check out King Fantasy Sports. But now, after a week off, we're going to send it back to your favourite musical interlude. No, it's not Justin Tucker singing opera, I know. It's Revis Island Discs. Take it away, Hugh.
Hello, and welcome back to Revis Island. Now we know it's not just the Americans who can sing an NFL song. This week, we take a trip to 1991 and the good old London Monarchs with Yo Go.
In 1991, the London Monarchs were on top of the world, winners of the inaugural WLAF World Bowl, shutting out the Barcelona Dragons 21-0 under the famous arches of their home stadium, Wembley. The Monarchs followed suit with their American counterparts, releasing a part diss track, part underground Brooklyn rap homage. The track was entitled Yo Go by the London Monarchs and the Crown Jewels. What a funny joke. The song is practically unlistenable from a musical standpoint, instead providing a time capsule of 90s nostalgia and proof that you should never let professional sportsmen anywhere near a recording studio. It's unclear who exactly is rapping on the track, but what is clear is that they're giving it the absolute beans. Ladies and gentlemen, Yo Go by the London Monarchs and the Crown Jewels.
It's not to confuse us with anyone else. We gon' roar and sip to the best. We're the London Monarchs and we're taking care of
That's all from Revis Island Discs this week. Back to the studio with Hugh and Chris.
And we're back. Nice to have Hugh back from his departure from not being at the Fancy Fridge.
Amazing how I can just come in and out, despite the fact I'm the other side of the world.
Amazing.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, who traded down. Who are they taking? Is it the Jags?
Well, no, it is. And I've lost my sheet, but I know who it is. It's Reggie Nelson.
Reggie Nelson!
That's who they got with the trade.
Check him out.
Right, Reggie Nelson, unbelievable player, nicknamed the Eraser. 2 Pro Bowls, second team All-Pro, NFL interceptions co-leader in 2015, and identified as the man accompanying the shooter Aaron Hernandez in a shooting.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Browns, they can see the partridge in the pear tree and they're going to come and take it. There he goes. Brady Quinn takes a big collective sigh of relief as he goes to waste his career in Cleveland.
Until he goes and starts taking them every week. Next up on the clock, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. A long way away from winning a Super Bowl. However, they're about to make a very good pick.
Put a bow on it. It's Dwayne Bowe.
Yes, sir. Dwayne Bowe. Selected 23rd alongside his former teammate, Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell, of course. The LSU boys, Dwayne Bowe and Jamarcus Russell.
And Buster Davis became the first receiver duo and quarterback from the same team taken in the first round.
What comes next, ladies and gentlemen, is the Miami boys. Chris, you have the floor.
The Miami Boys, aka the 7th Floor Crew, were a rap group made up of University of Miami Hurricanes players. So number 1 is safety, Brandon Merriweather. Arguably the heart-making LaRon Landry looked like Hugh with regards to the amount of dangerous concussive hits he used to put on people. In fact, they changed the rules in 2007 simply because of Brandon Merriweather. This guy was one of the dirtiest players in the NFL. So that was number 1 of the 7th Floor Crew, highest drafted member of the 7th Floor Crew. There are 3 more.
Perfect. We're about to run out of battery, so let's throw it to our resident kicking expert here every week.
Aguayo, why did he miss?
That was the weirdest.
And the kick is no good. Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible. Oh, he hits the upright. It's no good. Kickers are second rounders too, baby. Snap, hold, not even close. Holy Moses.
What's up, guys? This is Roberto Aguayo, NBL kicking expert. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I know I did. 3 kicks this week. Joey Sly, playing against the Minnesota Vikings, has a chance to win it from 54 yards. Long kick, but it's in a dome. Conditions are great. No wind, no rain, no elements to hinder anything. Doesn't even give it a chance. You know, Joey Sly has the distance, has a leg to get it from 50 plus. And looking at the stats, he's only 1 for 6. Why did he miss? Snap was great. Hold was great. Operation was perfect. When you get that far back for a right-footed kicker, your miss is usually going to be left because you overdo it. You swing too hard, you overcook it. That's usually the miss, and this is what happened here to Joey. Unlucky. Moving on to the Arizona game. Zane Gonzalez against the New England Patriots has a chance to seal the deal with 1:50 left. Had made a 47-yarder that game already, and they put the stat up. Gosh, I love when they do this. But you can see there's no fans, even in the Panthers game, in this game, in all the games, and kickers are still missing pressure kicks. The stakes are high, man. This position is very stressful, and for Zane, he just swiped at it. Snap poke was great. Swiped at it, snuck right outside the right upright. Unlucky, man, unlucky. Moving on to Koo in the Atlanta Falcons. This is interesting. Gets a roughing the kicker penalty after swiping at the ball, kind of like Zane did, and it just shoots off right, which is pretty weird after him hasn't missed since week 3, going on an 18 kick streak, and that's how he was gonna end it. But no, someone runs into him, gets a roughing the kicker penalty, gets thrown a bone from the kicking guys, and it just walks off the field and keeps the streak alive. Ended up going 5 for 5 that game.
Sometimes you need plays like that. Sometimes that's going to happen. And when you get touched, you need to go down. You need to kind of milk it just to get that penalty, to get those extra yards. But this guy just blatantly rolls into him, almost breaks his knee. But the penalties are there because kickers can't get touched, quarterbacks can't get touched. But those are the 3 kicks for this week. Look forward to next week. Y'all have a good weekend and see you next week.
Thank you, Roberto Aguirre. We are back round the... I still can't believe we got Roberto Aguirre doing that.
Unbelievable.
It's so dumb. Anyway, we are back round the table, and for those with short memories, the first of the 7th floor boys, Brandon Merriweather, has just been taken by the New England Patriots. Chris, who is next? Please tell me it's the 7th floor boy.
First of all, please put some respect on the 7th floor crew's name.
Crew.
They didn't come up with a crew on the 7th floor of Miami Hurricanes
Only for
building.
me to call it the boys.
Exactly. These are not boys. These are men that rap about having sex with women.
It's so late 2000s and it's so misogynistic it hurts.
Yes, Brandon Merriweather, the first of the 7th floor crew to go. Next up is Carolina on the clock. Who are they going to take? Of course, the second member of the 7th floor crew.
There's only 3 of them and every single one must go. It's a 7th floor crew sale.
This is John Beeson, a.k.a. Bees.
Is that his name?
I think so. Oh, I'm sorry. Big Bees.
Big Bees. So, Brandon Merriweather off the ball to the Patriots, the first of the 7th floor crew. John Beeson off, the next pick to the Carolina Panthers. Both linebackers. Who is the 3rd member of the 7th floor crew? Reveal yourself.
We're going to have to wait for a little later in the draft. We can't have 3 7th floor crew boys getting selected in back-to-back picks. That's outrageous.
That would be insane. I can't believe they've not brought up the 7th floor crew at all on this broadcast.
I don't think anyone ever brings up the 7th floor crew. But yeah, John Beeson went to Carolina and was second in all voting behind this man. So he was basically the second best linebacker to come out of that draft.
Moving on. Next up, who is it? The Chicago Bears?
No, it's the San Francisco 49ers.
Again. They've got Patrick Willis and they're coming back to get someone else. Who is it, Chris?
Joe Staley, offensive tackle.
Joe Staley, what a pick, man.
Absolute beast. This guy ran track at high school and ran the 200 meters in 21.5 seconds. That's only a few seconds slower than Usain Bolt, and this guy is an offensive lineman. Crazy fast.
Next up, who have we got?
Hey, yeah, come on, right around. It's wide receiver Craig Davis. Hot off the success of Born to Do It. Unfortunately, he was not born to do it in the NFL, being a massive bust.
Okay, Craig Davis. Fast forward that man. Next up, who have we got?
Next up, the Chicago Bears.
It's the 7th floor crew. The final member. Who is it going to be?
It is Greg Olsen, ladies and gentlemen, a.k.a. G-Reg. 3 Pro Bowls, went to the playoffs multiple years. Excellent tight end for the Bears and the Panthers, and is still playing today. But he will never live down being G-Reg with hot lines such as...
Perhaps, let me caveat this, the most misogynistic rap verse I have ever heard in my life, and in no way is condoned, but these are words that came out of Greg Olsen's head and he put on a track.
NVL does not support or condone the lyrics of Greg Olsen. Okay, drop a beat, Hugh. What's your name? G-Reg. What you do? How'd you do it? Drop my let us see my
Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. That is enough.
I thought we did that pretty well.
Yeah, we did, but the lyrics are heinous.
No, they're awful. It gets much worse.
G-Reg coming in with a misogyny. Currently has a wife and 3 kids.
Yeah, married, has 3 children.
So people grow up.
But with the 32nd pick, the Indianapolis Colts select The U.S. representative for Ohio's 16th congressional district since 2019, Anthony Gonzalez.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have a congressman and the seventh floor crew in the 2007 NFL draft. Everyone wants to bang on about Adrian Peterson. Everyone wants to talk about Patrick Willis, but nobody is talking about the seventh floor crew and Congressman.
That's it.
Anthony Gonzalez. That's the episode. Cut it. Done. Don't need to do any more. Drop it. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the NVL show. Join us next week when I still won't be here, but you guys will. And to play us out, Greg Olson's heavily censored verse
that we do not
condone. It is purely historical artifacts. Greg, drop a beat.
What's your name? G-Reg. What you do? How'd you do it? Drop my let us see my
Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that.